March Madness is officially upon us. The NCAA Tournament Bracket is here. A record 14 teams from the Southeastern Conference are going dancing. Let me repeat that. 14 teams. My, oh my, how things have changed. The SEC dominating on the hardwood. We are here reacting to, breaking down the official NCAA Tournament Bracket. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips. He is lead basketball analyst here at SEC Unfiltered, Dave Shumate. We are fired up to talk everything from Auburn being the number one overall national seed to the Texas Longhorns sneaking into the field. Other things as well. Who's going where? Who's seeded what? We're going to break all that down, react to it, give our initial thoughts. Again, myself and Dave Shumate. Guys, as always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications, check us out via podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, you can also find us across all social media platforms as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $200 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/SECU to get $200 in bonus bets today. Once again, March Madness is upon us. The NCAA Tournament Bracket is officially here, and a record 14 SEC teams are going dancing. Guys, we're breaking down the bracket, giving our initial reactions. I am Chris Phillips. Helping me do so, my good friend and lead basketball analyst here at SEC Unfiltered, does a fantastic job for us. Dave Shumate. Dave, what's going on, my friend? Appreciate you taking the time. You know, you think back to the month of December, we were talking non-conference play, and shout out to our guy, Dave, who was chopping away, doing all these reactions before people were really even diving into basketball head first, before we even knew how good the SEC was going to be on the hardwood this season. Dave, we've officially made it to Selection Sunday, my friend, and 14 teams are going dancing, man. Who'd have thunk it?
No, I remember back in November Feast Week, we had the Vegas tournament, we had Maui. Yeah, I mean, it goes by fast. The Battle of Atlantis and Oklahoma won. Yeah, I mean, it's wild. We're seeing some of these matchups potentially come again. We had Iowa State, Auburn, and Maui. That could happen there in that South region. But no, wild. 14 teams. I was sitting there thinking it. I can admit it. Again, I mean, it's hard to predict this, but I was leaning 11 probably about a month ago. But it's wild. All that we talked about it, some of these SEC tournament games, but teams like Georgia, teams like Vandy, teams like Oklahoma, Texas this week, Arkansas, those 5 teams fighting for those bubble spots as we kind of got into February. When they had to win, when their backs were against the wall, they were trapped into a corner. They fought their way out and got some key wins. It allows them to advance and get some of these big wins that you have in the SEC, these quad 1A games that you had a chance to pick up night in, night out. I mean, it is wild, CP, to say 14 out of the 16 teams. And again, I know the SEC added Texas and Oklahoma, so that increases the chances, but still 14 out of 16 teams is, I mean, that's remarkable. I mean, I know everyone thinks that, but when you really sit back and take it in, it's like, wow. I mean, you can argue if Texas and North Carolina should have been in, but the reality of it is they are in. The SEC has 14 teams in, and we have at least one when we go through the bracket again. Now, we're reacting like you people are, and we appreciate you joining us, guys. Like, we have 500 of you in here listening, but we're reacting like you are, and we have a couple SEC, or at least one Bama Vandy potentially in the second round. And they had to match up that at some point. But no, excited to break it down. CP, we got a lot of SEC basketball to talk about, obviously.
Dave, before we run through each region, because we're going to do so, give our thoughts, reactions, then we'll look at the bracket as a whole and talk about path for each team. And again, we're going to break this thing down every which way. You've been watching SEC basketball for a long time, as have I. Like you mentioned, Dave, like when you really sit back and think about it, 14 teams in this conference are going dancing. Like, I know I never thought I would see the day where the SEC was this dominant in basketball. And I mean, 14 getting in is just a testament to how great. I mean, we may never see a year like this again. Let's call it for what it is. Like, as good as the league may be.
No.
Yeah, as good as the league may be. Like, I mean, 14 teams dancing. That is crazy. So, just unprecedented times. Who'd have thunk it, Dave? I mean, I think it was a decade ago.
Well, it's really compliments what the league did in non-conference play. I mean, you had 3 teams rolling undefeated to conference play: Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Florida. You had a couple of teams win all these postseason tournaments. You had Florida, You had you had Georgia beating St. John's in a key game. They swept the Big East. Auburn winning Maui. Oklahoma winning the battle for Atlantis. And this is where you get the job done. This is where those wins in November, that one win in November, Oklahoma's win over Michigan, Georgia's win over St. John's is why we're discussing them today. So when people say the regular season of college basketball doesn't matter, I mean, you're thanking your lucky stars if you're eating that second or third helping of Thanksgiving food that night. That's a key win and get you into the tournament. We're sitting here in the middle of March.
I won't give you too much crap, by the way, Dave. Y'all heard him, by the way. He didn't think Texas was getting in.
I didn't.
Celebrate, Horn. Celebrate. Texas is in, baby. Texas is in. I won't give you too much crap for that, Dave. All right, let's run through each of these regions. We'll start with South. We'll go South, Midwest, West, and East, and then we're just going to look at the bracket as a whole. Let's go ahead, Dave. Dive into this. We will start South region. Auburn is the number 1 overall national seed. That wasn't really surprising to us at all. They will take on the winner of Alabama State and St. Francis. You then just look down the bracket. You got Louisville, Creighton in the 8-9. You got Michigan, UC San Diego in the 5-12. Then we see Texas A&M. Hey, they take on Yale. We were calling an SEC matchup with Yale last year.
They're trying to get back-to-back SEC dubs in the tournament.
Trying to get them out of there, right? They knock Auburn out last year. They'll try to take out Texas A&M this year. Buzz Williams and the boys in that 4-13 matchup. How about Ole Miss? How about Ole Miss in the 6th spot? They will take on the winner of San Diego.
It shows you the Rebs were pretty hot. They were closer to a 5 seed than people think. I mean, again, they're getting the last 2 teams in the tournament, San Diego State and North Carolina, playing game to play the Rebs. I actually like the Rebs in both. CB, honestly, the defensive slugfest that would be if we got a Chris Beard-led Ole Miss team versus a San Diego State team. I mean, the half-court defensive presence. I mean, it'd be an unbelievable matchup. Again, North Carolina. I think Ole Miss is actually just better than North Carolina, though.
So, again, they'll take on the winner, San Diego State, North Carolina. That is a play-in game that I believe will take place on Tuesday. We know Texas plays Wednesday now.
We'll get times tonight.
Yeah, we'll get times tonight. More on that in a second. 3-seed Iowa State takes on 14-seed Lipscomb, 7-seed Marquette taking on 10-seed New Mexico, and 2-seed Michigan State taking on 15-seed Bryant. Dave, your initial reactions to the South region, the paths for Auburn, A&M, and Ole Miss, respectively.
I'll go out there and say it. I think this is Auburn got a tough 8-9 matchup. I mean, this game's taking place in Lexington, so let that sink in. Louisville, about an hour and a half away. How
about Louisville? As good of a season as they had, an 8 seed in the tournament.
Yeah, it just shows you how bad the ACC was. Creighton, you got Ryan Kalkbrenner. My guy Stephen Ashbury. It's a good player. Ashworth, it's a good player at guard. That's a tough second-round matchup. And, again, I think Auburn – if you made me pick today, I would pick Auburn. But, again, that could be a home game for Louisville. And I know Auburn fans travel well. But, again, it's in the state of Kentucky. I think Auburn got a tough draw for being the number 1 overall seed. Both those 8-9 matchups could be tricky if Auburn's not playing well that day. A&M, you get Yale. I don't know. I think that extra day of rest could do A&M well. I see a lot of people doubting A&M. I'll probably stick with my guns. You'd be a little surprised maybe how far I have them. Them in Michigan in the second round would be phenomenal. And like I mentioned, I talked about Ole Miss already. I like the Rebs to get past either San Diego State or North Carolina. But the Rebs, it goes to show you they were closer to getting that 5 matchup. But this may actually be a better draw. Second round against Iowa State, that could be tough. TJ Otzelberger and the boys do a good job. But, yeah, I mean, I honestly, it'd be interesting. Those Michigan, Texas A&M versus Auburn would be interesting. I think Auburn got a tough draw. I'm being honest with you. I think they have a tougher second round matchup than Alabama does. And Alabama's a 2 seed. Like, I don't know. I think Auburn kind of got a tougher draw than the number 1 overall seed probably should. It's always interesting when they seed these, but no. I mean, I think if Auburn can get past the first, obviously they'll get past the first round, but they can get past the second round. Sweet 16 matchup. I mean, even a team you lost to, A&M, you got Michigan. If they could get to the Elite 8, I actually like Auburn. I actually like them against Michigan State or anybody else that would potentially – I don't know. I say that. Iowa State. I mean, Iowa State in that game in Maui, CP was up 17, and Auburn had to climb back. So I think Auburn overall is sitting there. It is what it is now, dude. You got to go play it. But I think if you're sitting there, you're like, man, for being the number 1 overall seed, we sure got a tough draw.
A tough draw for the Tigers indeed, Dave. I did see you on social media, and I thought the same thing. I thought Bama got a little bit more of a favorable draw, admittedly, and we'll talk more about that in a second. Let's slide over, Dave, to the Midwest region. The 1 seed Houston taking on the 16 seed SIU Edwardsville. We didn't see an SEC team. Tough draw for Georgia as the 9 seed. They got 8 seed Gonzaga in their first round matchup. 5 seed Clemson takes on 12 seed McNeese. Will Wade and the boys will look to take down the Tigers. 4 seed Purdue taking on 13 seed High Point. You got 6 seed Illinois taking on the winner. Here they are, Dave. Texas Longhorns are dancing. We had our doubts. I didn't think Texas was going to get in. They are in the first 4. Texas Xavier will duke it out on Wednesday. The winner of that game takes on Illinois, the 6 seed Illinois. So Longhorns. Your initial thoughts, by the way, Dave. Let me run through these, and I'll ask you about Texas. 3 seed Kentucky takes on 14 seed Troy. 7 seed UCLA taking on 10 seed Utah State, and 2 seed Tennessee taking on the 15 seed, the Wofford Terriers. Dave, I want to go to Texas. Your thoughts on Texas being one of the last 4 teams in?
I mean, let's be honest. A lot of these bubble teams, you could make an easy case they shouldn't be in. But you know what?
Weak bubble this year.
Yeah, weak bubble. But it goes to show you the committee takes in what you do in the conference tournaments. If you're trying to play your way in, or if you play your way out, don't really move much seed line. I mean, look at Kentucky. I mean, Kentucky's a 3 seed. Dude, no offense. I love Kentucky. I love the tradition. I love what Mark Pope's doing. I mean, if you're Houston and Tennessee, and you look up and you're like, man, the 3 seeds Kentucky, depending on the health of Lamont Butler. I mean, Kentucky, I hate to say this, but I think Kentucky's a pretty weak 3 seed, folks. But I think 2 things can be true at once. I think they're a weak 3 seed, but I think Mark Pope, when you factor in the injuries they've had his first year at Kentucky, has done a phenomenal job. Should get an A grade to get this team to a 3 seed. When Kirk Reese is out, Lamont Butler's missed time, Carr's had an injury, Jackson Robinson's out. I give him a phenomenal grade for the season. But if you're Houston and Kelvin Sampson, you like this draw overall. And if I'm Tennessee, CP, I think they got a pretty good draw. I mean, they're going to face the underhand shooter from Wofford at the free throw line, their big guy. But then I like them against either UCLA or Utah State. I actually like Utah State. And then think about it. They're sitting there, CP. They're like, we get Kentucky. If things go chalk, is the 3 seed, or we probably most likely get Illinois? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, Rick Barnes and them are like, well, I'll take that. And then we could get the epic showdown. What a physical, just bar fight we could get in Houston, Tennessee if everything goes chalk in the Elite 8. Can you imagine that physical? I mean, I would love to see who the officials are assigned to that game. That's something to look forward to.
Yeah, the way that one is called will be very interesting, no doubt, would affect that ball game. But, no, I like the draw for Tennessee as well, Dave. I'm excited.
I think Tennessee's going to get – I'd be a little surprised if Tennessee wasn't in the Elite 8 with this draw.
Yeah, I like this draw a lot. No, it's I think it favors the Vols.
And that's somebody – CP, I think you're with me too. I don't think the Vols have like a very high ceiling compared to these other elite teams. Like I think out of the top 4 SEC teams, Tennessee has the probably lowest ceiling.
But the matchups help.
Yeah, but it's all comes down to matchups. I mean, we were just talking about Auburn. I think Tennessee got a very favorable matchup. They earned stuff. They earned it, but because they're the number 1 or they're the top 2 seed. So no, I mean, I think they got a favorable matchup. They're opening up in a building they're very familiar with. They're playing at Rupp.
Yeah. Interesting. Playing at Rupp Arena.
So is Auburn. Auburn's at Rupp.
In Lexington. That is very, very interesting. Dave, let's slide over to the West region. The Florida Gators, the number 1 seed in the West region, taking on 16 seed Norfolk State. 8 seed UConn taking on 9 seed Oklahoma. The Sooners find themselves dancing. 5 seed Memphis, 12 seed Colorado State, 4 seed Maryland, 13 seed Grand Canyon. How about Mizzou? 6 seed Mizzou taking on 11 seed Drake. 3 seed Texas Tech taking on 14 seed UNCW. Arkansas, the 10 seed, taking on the 7 seed Kansas Jayhawks, and the 2 seed St. John's, the Johnnies, taking on 15 seed Omaha. Your thoughts, Dave, the West region. Again, Florida, well-deserved, well-earned. You're right, by the way, watching the selection show, obviously bracket comes out, all these guys are making their picks. You can already tell, like you mentioned, Dave, earlier, Florida is going to be that sexy pick to not only advance to the Final Four and get to San Antonio, but really win it all.
No, I agree. I mean, I think they're just playing the overall best basketball right now. That matchup in the second round, though, against Hurley and the boys. Now, I've seen some people come out. I think it was Seth Davis saying he liked the Oklahoma You liked Oklahoma over UConn? You liked the Oklahoma matchup against UConn? I don't really think about it. I mean, CP, would you be shocked if Florida's not in the Sweet 16? Let's put it that way.
I'd be stunned. I would absolutely be stunned if they didn't make it to the second weekend. Yeah.
All right, in the Elite Eight. What about that next meeting? Again, Maryland. I think they got a really good starting five. Maryland's not deep. What do we always say about Florida? They wear you down. They are deep.
Yeah.
Give me Florida in that matchup.
Yeah.
No, I think Memphis is kind of a weak 5 seed, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah. No, I like the Gators for sure. I like the draw for Florida. That potential UConn game is really interesting. Hurley's a bit of a nut job. He's a great coach, but he's kind of all over the place. I mean, that game could get fun. They got
probably my second most anticipated second round matchup. We'll talk about my other one probably here in a bit. But we'll talk about we will talk about it here in a bit. But I think Florida walks to the Elite Eight, bro. I mean, I think their hardest. Again, I'm not making predictions yet, but we're just reacting. I think their toughest matchup may be in the second round.
Yeah, it sets up.
I like Maryland. I like what Maryland's done in the time, and I like what Willard and them have done in the Big Ten. Their top 5 guys can compete with anybody. They're not deep though, and Florida is just a different monster when they're rolling those dudes out there left and right. They wear you down, and they know it. They're aware of it. Like they know that's how. Like, I mean, you hear Todd Golden in the pen, like, "Hey, we're wearing them down. We're wearing them down." I don't know. I think Florida walks the Elite Eight. And again, if it's chalk CP St. John's, they're going to be a popular pick because of what Rick Pitino does, and rightly so. I mean, they just won the Big East tournament for the first time since 2000, but they can't score. They can defend, but you're not just going to lock Florida down offensively. They're going to get theirs. Dude, I'll say out of reacting to this initially, CP, before we go deep diving here, I think Florida, and this isn't saying a lot the way they're playing, Florida is my most confident team to get to the Final Four out of the SEC right now. I think they're playing the best, and I think they got a big break in the bracket. Again, maybe not a break. They just got a favorable matchup.
Yeah, I think the matchups work well for Florida. Again, the basketball they're playing out of Oklahoma, Mizzou, Arkansas. Could you see any of those 3 making a deep run here with these matchups?
It's a good question. Arkansas. All right, so Missouri, Drake.
I love Mizzou. I will say I love Mizzou.
I do, but I don't like their draw. Drake's a tough. I think Drake's a tough 11 seed, and I think Texas Tech is a tough physical team as a 3 seed. I like Missouri. I don't like the draw. I think 2 things can be true at once. Arkansas. Again, Kansas was the preseason number 1 team. They have talent. They have Bill Self. That's going to be a fun first round matchup. Yeah. Cal versus Bill Self. And then one of those guys are going to go face Rick Pitino, which will be fun in the second round. That's guaranteed to happen. I don't know, CP. If you made me pick out of, I really don't like any of them. To get
Oklahoma,
to
UConn's a fascinating game.
So when you're asking me out of Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, who do I like to get to the second weekend? Probably the best.
Yeah, second weekend, not like Final Four.
Pick. I'll say this: I don't like any of them too.
Yeah.
If you made me pick, though, I'm going to go with the consistent Missouri. I'd go with Missouri beating Texas Tech in the second round would be if that's going to happen. I don't lean that way right now, but I don't see Oklahoma beating UConn and Florida.
Yeah.
I know. And then I could see Arkansas. No, it's just, no, I'd go Missouri, and I don't even like that.
Yeah. All right, Dave, finally, let's go to the East region. The Duke Blue Devils are the number 1 seed in the East region. They'll take on 16 seed American or Mount St. Mary's. That'll be decided in the play-in game. How about 8 seed Mississippi State? Chris Jans and the boys, friend of the show. They'll take on 9 seed Baylor in their first round matchup. You didn't have Oregon 5 seed taking on 12 seed Liberty, 4 seed Arizona taking on 13 seed Akron, 6 seed BYU taking on 11 seed VCU, 3 seed Wisconsin taking on 14 seed Montana. There's Vanderbilt, the 10 seed. They're taking on St. Mary's, the 7 seed, and the Alabama Crimson Tide, who come in at a 2 seed, taking on 15 seed Robert Morris. Dave, you talked about this a little earlier. You mentioned on social media. You hinted it earlier when talking Auburn. You like Bama's path more than, say, the Auburn Tigers. Your thoughts on the East region and your thoughts on what lies ahead for Bama, Vandy, and Mississippi State?
I mean, naturally, I haven't done a lot of research on Robert Morris. I mean, I'm not going to BS people in here, but I think it's a game they should win. And then in your second round matchup, you're looking at St. Mary's, who rebounding margin does do a good job, and the health of Grant Nelson will be key. He's Alabama's leading rebounder. Alabama led the SEC in rebounding. That'll be key, but I still like Alabama against St. Mary's. that were to happen, just a little too much firepower. And then Vanderbilt, a team they already beat, granted in Tuscaloosa, but they beat them by double digits. And if Vanderbilt's hot, if guys like Tyler Nickel and Edwards can get hot, yeah, they could certainly beat Alabama on a given night. But just in a single elimination 68-team tournament, if Alabama's healthy, you couldn't ask for a better first and second round matchup, in my opinion.
Yeah, the path for the Crimson Tide sets up really well, Dave. I think so. Wisconsin intrigues me in this side of the bracket, or this region, if you will. Duke is Cooper Flagg. Is he going to be good? I mean, what's the status?
He's going to play. A team to watch in this bracket would be with the 6th seed BYU. Really well coached. They have some veterans on that team. Smart. They don't beat themselves coming out of the Big 12. That's a team I could see get on a run. And if we get BYU Wisconsin, that'll be a fun game in the second round. VCU, good too, though. That'll be a fun 6-11 matchup. And then I think NC State got a tough draw. But you know what? When you go on a losing streak like they did to end the season, when they were kind of in that 7 range. I mean, remember when they played Alabama in Starkville? That game came down to the wire. They were kind of in the talks of a 3 to 4 seed. It's amazing how far they fell. Remember, they were the 10th seed in the SEC tournament. I mean, it's a tough draw, though. Baylor's, it will be a tough out for them. I certainly think they can win that game. But again, Chris Jans, 3rd straight year making the tournament in his 3rd year at Mississippi State. But people are tired of not winning an NCAA tournament game. Again, he's fine. I mean, he's making the tournament every year he's been there. But he even said when he was with us on the show, he said, hey, expectations, we need to go win. Just making it isn't good enough. So I'm sure he'll challenge a team like that. And again, your reward for beating Baylor, you get to go play Duke. So I think State's got a tough matchup, I think. But again, they played themselves in that situation with how they finished the year. Vanderbilt, I think, wasn't as safe as people thought. And I thought they probably should have been a little safer. But I think Mark Byington and the team, they're a dangerous team, and they're going to be well coached. Kind of felt like they hit a wall late in the season, didn't it? It kind of felt like they hit a wall late in the season, went on a little bit of a losing streak. Them probably getting off their feet, getting the early exit in the SEC tournament will probably benefit them just to go flush the regular season and kind of re-energize themselves, recharge for the NCAA tournament run.
Dave, I got an idea live on air. How about we get this FanDuel ad read in? And what if I told you we already have spreads for every single one of these games? So let's go ahead and talk about our friends over at FanDuel because, guys, again, March Madness is here. The bracket's out. We're about to go through. We're reacting these live to. I haven't really even seen these yet outside of like the first couple that I figured out they've got them. Dave has no idea. We're going to run through these. So, again, guys, of course, as always, brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. This bracket season, FanDuel is letting you make the call. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to bet on everything from clutch shots to last-second heartbreaks and even who's cutting down the nets. If you've been waiting to join, there is literally no better time. There's tourney action almost every day, and FanDuel has amazing bet types like spreads, totals, game props, and so much more. And again, guys, you saw us during the SEC tournament. We locked in all of our picks. We're going to do so. We're about to talk about these spreads right now. We're going to have spreads virtually every single day for every single SEC game. Dave and I are going to have our picks, tail us, fade us, do whatever you like, but we're going to be throwing bets left and right here, guys. Visit FanDuel.com/SECU and get in on the college hoops action all tourney long. Must be 21 and up and present in select states or 18 and up and present in D.C. First online, real money wager only, $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. In Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Dave, let's go ahead and dive into it. Again, we've got the spreads here. And, guys, I want to make it very clear, by the way, we are going to go live again, or you're going to get another segment of content from us. This is purely just our reaction. We are going to have a preview and prediction show where yours truly and Dave Shumate, we are going to lock in picks for every single first-round game. And, of course, you can bet your ass, myself, Dave Shumate, everybody at SEC Unfiltered, whether they want to or not, is going to fill out a bracket. We are going to put those out on social media. We are going to put people's knowledge to the test and see
It's un-American.
It's un-American if you don't fill out a bracket. We're going to do so. Everybody is. We've also got our bracket challenge. We've posted that link. Make sure you join. Test your knowledge against our guy. Let's see if you can beat our lead basketball analyst, Dave Shumate. Let's see. Are you
probably
smarter?
Will. I mean, I told you about my favorite bracketology story. Favorite bracket, 2006. I think it was the 2006 tournament. Yeah, sophomore in high school. So I would lead the kind of bracket challenge, collect the money. Girls were even invited in it. Happens to be every year the people who watch the least amount of basketball tend to win these things. Again, I remember a girl in high school won it. And it was the year LSU went to the Final Four with Glenn Davis in them. They beat Duke and JJ Redick. Had them in the Final Four just because she was about to go to school there. I didn't even watch basketball. Just had them in there. And I think LSU that year was like a 6 seed. It was like, all right. But no, I mean, anyone can win this thing. I mean, it's most likely somebody that doesn't watch it will.
Yeah, flip a coin and pick teams based off your favorite colors and mascots and whatever. And it's funny how those people tend to have the best brackets because we'll probably be right there, Dave, wanting to crumple up our brackets and throw it in the trash after the first weekend or so. So anyways, Dave, instead of making you guess all these, I'm going to pull it up on screen so folks here that are tuned in can get the visual. I want to make sure you guys have a visual for all of these spreads. So without further ado, let's go ahead. I'm going to get this on screen where it is aesthetically pleasing. And there we are. Boom. Okay. Dave, we officially have the lines. This is the first four. Texas is a 2.5-point underdog to Xavier. Your thoughts on the Longhorns being the dog in this game?
First, fired up Trey Johnson. We get to see him in the tournament.
Yeah,
I thought we missed something. I mean, the thing, but we didn't even get Anthony Edwards in the tournament when he was at Georgia. But yeah, I mean, again, I've watched Xavier a couple of times. I need to go do some more research on it, but that sounds about right. I'd have been shocked if Texas was a favorite in any of these opening play-in games and even the first-round games. I mean, Texas won't be a favorite in any of these games, no matter how far they go. But winnable game, especially when you have a guy like Trey Johnson, they're going to need, I think, something out of like Arthur Kaluma if they want to make a run here, and then Caden Shedrick keep playing well.
Yeah, the over-under set at 1.
They had a good week this past week.
Yeah, no, they did. Let's see if they've got – I would imagine – okay, it's not out yet. I would imagine we're going to have some Trey Johnson props, Dave, that we can dive into. All right, let's go through each region. Again, they've got all the spreads. Mississippi State plus 1.5 against 7-seed Baylor. You mentioned, Dave, Baylor is a tough draw for Chris Jans and the boys, and over-under set at 142.5 as well. Surprised or about expected? I think it's expected, right, to see the dogs as an underdog there.
Yeah, I would say Baylor's been a little bit more consistent. I mean, a little lesser conference, but still the Big 12 has some tough teams in there, so it's not like the ACC we're talking about here. Again, I think Mississippi State just got it. I would be baffled. I'll say that if they were in the second round. Sorry, in the second weekend.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I don't think they're a second weekend team. Their inconsistencies just scare the hell out of me.
And then the draw, I mean, it's just tough.
The draw is tough. Yeah, the draw is very tough. 3-seed Bama, let's see. They've got that messed up, I think. Alabama. Yeah, they've got that, whatever the seeding. Bama is a 22.5-point favorite over Robert Morris. Not really a surprise there. The over-under is set at 165.5. If you're feeling frisky and you think the upset's happening, you can get Robert Morris at plus 2,000 on the money line. So no surprise, Dave. Bama a big favorite. Vanderbilt, 4.5-point underdog against St. Mary's. The over-under set at 136.5. Dave, you mentioned it. St. Mary's, tough draw for Vandy.
Sure, it's always them and Gonzaga out there in the West Coast Conference. That'll be a fun matchup. The two very good coaches, Mark Byington, Mark Few. That's an underrated first-round matchup.
Yeah, they are favored accordingly in that game. Vandy will look to pull the upset. Let's go to the West region. Do we have it? Let's see. Okay, this line's already starting to move a little bit. Hogs, Arkansas are a 5.5-point underdog to Kansas. Over-under set at 146.5. This game is so fascinating, Dave. You mentioned Boogie Flan, correct? He is back for this ball game, correct?
Correct. And these two teams, remember, CP played an exhibition that was televised. Yeah. Arkansas won it at Bud Walton, but they've already played, months ago, back in November or October, maybe late October. But yeah, not shocked. I mean, I wouldn't want to see Kansas in this. I mean, again, I'm not expecting Kansas to go to the Final Four, but they do have a bunch of talented guys on this team. And again, it's Bill Self in March. I mean, It's dangerous there. But no, I mean, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting there. I mean, St. John's has got a tough second-round game no matter what. Arkansas is just, you've been better without Boogie Flan. That's when kind of your run started when Nelly Davis started playing his appropriate position.
Yeah, both these teams, Dave, really interesting because both have tons of talent. Both have underachieved. Two great coaches, like you mentioned. I think it's one of the more intriguing first-round games, no doubt. Two brands, too. Kansas, obviously, a blue blood, and Arkansas with John Calipari. Speaks for itself. Let's continue. How about Missouri and Drake? Mizzou is a 6.5-point favorite over Drake. Over-under set at 133.5. Dave, you mentioned this is kind of a tricky first-round game. Mizzou, though, 6.5-point favorites in this one.
Yeah, Missouri's set up for a tournament run. Probably good to go get off their feet, but they're a deep basketball team. Tamar Bates, got to get Mark Mitchell healthy. Drake is that kind of upset-prone team. You watch them in the Missouri Valley. They're hot. They can beat you, but also Missouri likes to turn you over. I lean Missouri in this one to win this game. I do. And then I could see them going a run there, but it's tough. It's tough.
Get the grill fired up, Dave. Caleb Grill.
Yeah,
he's going to get hot.
6th man of the year.
Him and Tamar Bates. Watch out. All right, Dave, Florida, no surprise, 28.5-point favorite over Norfolk State. Over-under set at 153.5. Dave, I was about to say, heck, 28.5 may not be enough the way Florida's playing of late. That's a lot of points in an NCAA tournament game, but, man, the Gators are rolling. I mean, it just ain't a whole lot you got to say there. Dave, Oklahoma, 3.5-point underdog to UConn. The over-under set at 146.5. Like we mentioned, it's a tough matchup for OU. Underdog is expected. I would imagine, and it looks like, heck, what's so funny about FanDuel, guys, for those listening, this is kind of being updated live because obviously there's money coming on sides. UConn, the money line just increased on them. So Dave, this is a spread. I think people are going to hammer UConn here.
I could see a lot of people hammering UConn. Agree.
Yeah, I think UConn's going to be the pick. Let's go to the Midwest region. And by the way, guys, as the week progresses, we are going to have just straight up, you can pick who wins each region. There'll be spreads on that too. We'll post those throughout the week. Dave, Georgia, 6.5-point underdog against Gonzaga. Over-under set at 151.5. Your thoughts? This one feels about right.
Sorry, I said St. Mary's earlier with Mark Few. I was said Gonzaga and thought that. Sorry, Mark Few's in this game. Sorry, folks, that people are going to be listening in the past. This guy's an idiot. He doesn't coach St. Mary's. I said Gonzaga. Sorry. Mark Few here. So Mark Few, Mike White, battle here. I mean, you lean Gonzaga a little bit, but to be fair, I mean, Georgia has wins over St. John's, Florida, Kentucky. They've been tested against the top teams in the country. Georgia ain't going to be scared of Gonzaga. But I think in one game, I think Gonzaga's a little bit more disciplined team. They've been there. Mark Few's been here. I'd lean Gonzaga in this one. This line's probably about right.
Yeah. Georgia plus 235 on the money line if you believe in the Dogs to advance to the round of 32. Dave, Tennessee, a 19.5-point favorite against the Wofford Terriers. Over-under set at 132.5. You mentioned Wofford has the viral underhand free throw shooter guy. You know, I mean, this, Dave, here's the thing. Like 19.5, you look at it, like there's going to be some of these teams that are favored by these big spreads that do not cover. I wonder, will Tennessee be one of them? But obviously, again, Vols are a big-time favorite to win this game.
No, I agree with you. They 100% are.
Again, hey, people already think I'm a Tennessee hater. I might as well just keep it going and just say, hey, I got Hammer Wofford, baby.
Hammer Wofford.
Hammer Wofford. Dave, Kentucky, 10.5-point favorite against Troy. Over-under set at 152.5. This feels like a big spread right here.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. This is a 3-14 game, CP. And it's a 10.5. I told you, I watched Troy the other night against Arkansas State in the Sun Belt Championship tournament and the tournament championship, and they look pretty solid. Again,
I think they said they've got the player of the year on Troy's
they made a little push. There was like a 4-way tie, I think, for the Sun Belt for first place. In Kentucky, depending on the Lamont Butler shoulder, I mean, they're banged up. So it's a thing. I don't know. It'll be interesting. This would not be a shocker. I'm going to go Kentucky, but like I've been saying, I think Kentucky is a very weak 3 seed, but that does not mean Kentucky fans coming in here. I like what Mark Pope's done this year. He's overachieved when you factor in the injuries he's had. But now we're in tournament time. We're just calling a spade a spade. This is a dangerous game if I'm a Kentucky fan. I'm a little worried about this one against Troy. I don't think you're going to lose, This is a game you certainly can lose because they've been tested in a pretty tough Sun Belt this year. And I know obviously Kentucky has. They get everybody's best shot, but this is interesting there. Lamont Butler's overall health will be key, especially if we're talking bigger picture, Kentucky even going to the second round next weekend or the second weekend next weekend.
Dave, let's go to the South region. Texas A&M, 7.5-point favorite against Yale. Over under 141.5. Can Yale do it again, Dave? Buzz Williams and company, a little bit more than a touchdown favorite in this one.
I'll be honest with you, I hadn't watched a lot of Yale this year. I'll be honest with you, the line tells you, though, they're a pretty solid basketball team. Kind of like to muck it up, too, like A&M. I'm probably going to have A&M going to the second weekend here. I'll be honest with you. I kind of like A&M kind of getting that extra rest with their physical style. Them in Michigan in the second round would be very fun. But let's talk about these opening lines. I don't know what the line here because A&M kind of shortens games. It can be ugly. They muck it up their style. But I do like A&M in this first round.
Yeah, A&M Yale, again, they will look to avoid doing what Auburn did last year. Let's see, Dave. I think that's the only one they've got right now. They may be missing. I feel like they might be missing a few games here, so maybe not all of them are out. Yeah, we will await. Okay, so we got East Region, Bama plus 390 to win the East Region and get to the Final Four. Let's see.
Or Duke is.
Duke minus 110.
Yeah.
Bama plus 390. Duke, obviously the favorite. Mississippi State plus 3,700. Vandy plus 7,500. Again, our friends at FanDuel have got all kinds of different lines here. South Region, Auburn, the favorite to win the South Region, get to the Final Four. No surprise, really, plus 105. Dave, you mentioned, though, how tough the path will be. A&M plus 1,200 to get to the Final Four. Ole Miss plus 2,000. Again, I'm obviously just going through the SEC teams here.
I'm seeing these odds. I think A&M's such a much tougher 4 seed than Kentucky is a 3 seed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Tennessee and Houston, that gets me excited. Again, I know I feel like I'm just piling on Kentucky, and I'm not. Again, respect the job Mark Pope's done this year, A plus, but yeah, I did. That's the 3 seed in your region.
Yeah,
you feel pretty good.
Yeah, you do feel pretty good about it. Kentucky's been a little bit all over the place, but let's see. Midwest region, Dave. Houston, the favorite, obviously at plus 155 to get to the Final Four. Tennessee, plus 340. We just mentioned Kentucky. You think the Cats are going to the Final Four? They're plus 850 to get there. Plus 850. Let's see. Georgia, plus 8,500. Texas, plus 10,000 to get to the Final Four. God bless if the Longhorns make a run and you've got a Texas ticket to the Final Four, plus 10,000. Finally, in the West, Dave, Florida's minus 115 to get to the Final Four.
Got a hell of a draw, man.
That goes to show you how good they've been playing and how good the draw is.
I mean, look, the 2 seed in the region isn't even the second favorite.
That's a good point. Yeah, Texas
St.
Tech
John's is the 2 seed in that region.
Texas Tech plus 480, St. John's is plus 600. So Texas Tech, per FanDuel, better odds to get to the Final Four than St. John's. How about that? Mizzou plus 1,300. Arkansas plus 7,500. Oklahoma plus 8,000 to get to the Final Four. Latest national championship odds. How about Duke is the favorite, Dave? Plus 350. Who's right behind him, though? Florida plus 410. Auburn plus 500. Bama plus 1,700. I'm not going to lie to you, Dave. That plus 1,700 looks mighty friendly. Looks mighty friendly if Bama gets rolling.
Yeah, they got to get good news on Grant Nelson tomorrow.
Yeah. Tennessee plus 1,900. We'll just run through all these for fun. Let's see. Tennessee plus 5,500. Mizzou plus 7,000. A&M plus 8,000. Let's see. Mississippi State plus 24,000.
Yeah, that's her. Go Lacey. Go put $100 on that.
Yeah. Vandy plus 85,000. Arkansas plus 95,000. Now we're just getting silly. God, who else? Let's see. Texas.
What are you doing if you have $100 on Vandy? This is to win it all, or
to win it all. This is to win it all.
What if you put like $100 on Vandy to win it all?
You win 85 grand if Mark
and they lost in no. Let me hear me out. And you lose on a buzzer beater in the national title.
Gosh,
you got that far.
You would be. If you had that ticket, Dave, you'd be like one of those people like ESPN highlights is like, look at this man in
Oh, yeah.
down in Biloxi, Mississippi with a ticket for Vandy to win the national championship.
He's going to cash it in at the Beau Rivage.
Yeah, for real. Texas plus 100,000, Georgia plus 100,000. I mean, get this, Dave. Texas and Georgia have the same odds as Wofford to win the whole thing. So, and Oklahoma plus 100,000.
Go back up all the way, if you don't mind. Let's talk here. Where do you think it stops? Like, where's the last team that you're like, that's the last team I think I would feel decent about without just feeling like I flushed $100 down the drain?
Probably Michigan State.
Let's see. So Duke, you'd feel, yeah. Florida, yeah.
Auburn, yes.
Yeah.
Houston,
First 2 rows, for sure. I like what Houston does. I feel like they have a Final Four ceiling, but I feel like at some point they always get stuck in a game with teams who get in the lane, try to get to the rim. They get in foul trouble or they get limited offensively. I'll throw Houston in there. I don't think Houston can win it all, though. I don't think they will. No. Bama, you could throw in there again. I don't think Alabama's going to win it all. I don't think they could beat Florida if they played again. It's just a terrible matchup. I don't think Tennessee can win it all. But if you really where the buck stops, I mean, I'd probably stop if I'm being honest. Again, I don't think Houston could, but I'm going to throw them in there. I'll probably stop after Houston, where I feel like I'd be flushing some money down the drain.
So those top.
If Alabama was healthy, I would throw them in there. But again, I've told you about how Tennessee, I think, has got an offensive ceiling unless Jordan Gainey keeps playing like he has. But after that, I mean, I think Iowa State's pretty good. I think they're Final Four good, and they're in Auburn's region, but I still think they're Final Four good. But I don't think they could win it all. Same with Texas Tech. Same with Michigan State. Certainly St. John's. They do a really good job, Rick Pitino, defensively, but they're limited offensively. Yeah, I'd probably say it stops at Houston, where I feel like, man, it'd be a real surprise if they won it all. Again, I think people get confused. There's a difference, obvious difference, but I think we just throw it hand in hand to getting to the Final Four
and winning.
And then at the Final Four, winning 2 more games against that level of competition, no matter what the seed is, because at that point, teams won 4 games. They're playing really good basketball. But to win it all, I would probably stop. I'd stop after Houston.
Yeah. I mean, Dave, it's to your point about, it's a fun exercise because I'm sitting here watching, again, the March Madness, the show, and I forget the guy's name. One of the guys, though, he had Florida Clemson in his national title game. Clemson in the Final Four, Clemson in the national title. Tigers are plus 9,500. So, hey, there's some folks being bold, shooting at it, but I would agree with you. I think it's going to be one of those top 4 teams that ultimately wins the national championship. We're going to see upsets. Obviously, this is March Madness, but the cream always rises to the top, it feels, Dave. Very rarely have we gotten like just a truly out there, super long shot national champion. So, to your point. Dave, that being said, fun stuff, man. Let's take a few questions. Obviously, we got a bunch of people, over 1,100 of you tuned in. Really appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for the love, the engagement, the banter. March Madness is officially here. We're excited. Dave, we've got 14 teams to cover, man. We got 14 different games to look forward to. Really excited. We're going to be busy, folks. Dave and I are going to be busy in round 1. We'll let you guys know exactly what the content's going to be, how we're going to break things up. We're definitely going to do a big first round preview prediction. We thought about going game by game. It's just too much, guys. 14 separate game previews. I don't even know if we could get them all out in time. So we're going to have one big preview show. We'll react to all the games, of course, as you become accustomed to us doing. That being said, Dave, let's take a few questions here. I do want to highlight our friends over at the Full Court Network. Friends of the show. Baby. 14 teams.
LT.
Wow. You guys must be happy. He also says feel sorry for South Carolina and LSU. How about
only
Dave?
Kids who can't go out to recess.
Yeah, Dave. How about South Carolina declining their NIT invite? Good for them, honestly. Good for them doing that.
I mean, dude, if it was the old way, like when all your players were back unless they had to sit out a year, yeah, you go get the extra practices, the extra game, but you're gonna have a whole new roster anyways. I don't blame Lamont Bears.
Yeah. No doubt. I don't blame them either. I say good for them. David makes the point the SEC could have their own bracket. Yeah, it's crazy. 14 teams in this thing. Joe K, Dave, he says he might put $1 on Texas for grins at plus 100.
Baby. If you're feeling risky, put you $1 on that, Joe K.
What would that be, like $1?
Put $1 on that, Joe K, that Texas wins the national title. And if it happens, I have to meet you.
Yeah, we'll bring Joe K. We're bringing you on the show and letting you run things. If
Yeah, well, you're a guest on the show.
You'll be a guest
You're
host.
the second college basketball analyst next year.
Yeah, you'll be a guest host. Be a guest host. So, let's see. Running back through these. Our friend Hack Squat Jim Duggan. We love the door report, boys. Wrong, guys. Doors are coming.
Hack Squat Jim Duggan may be my favorite Vanderbilt.
Wrong, Dave. Doors are coming again.
Yeah, he's calling his shot. He's got them beating St. Mary's and beating Bama.
Don't sleep on those doors, Dave. You know they're going to be out and about full force. Love those guys. Love the door report guys. If you love college sports, love Vandy, check them out at the door report. They are awesome. Joe K says Razorbacks can beat the Jayhawks. I think they can beat Kansas. Yeah, I mean, I think they can. Yeah, I think they
already did it in an exhibition.
Yeah.
I mean, so they can certainly beat them on a given day.
Dave, we got the Woo Pig folks out and about. Big on the pig.
Hog fans are fired up, baby.
Hog fans are fired up. Be back in the tournament. It's exciting. Joe Case is like Florida to win the West. Joe, you're going to be with a lot of people who are going to like Florida to win the West. That's going to be a pretty popular pick. Let's see. Josh Manning, Texas, Tennessee in the Sweet 16 if they both make it that far.
The Rick Barnes Bowl again for the third time.
The Rick Barnes Bowl. How about it? The Rick Barnes Bowl.
I'll say this, Joe. I'll say this, Joshua Manning. I'd be fired up for Texas, but I think Tennessee would be excited for the matchup too.
Yeah, I think they would, no doubt. Let's see. Kirby, hope Alabama makes a run. I love watching Sears take over a game. You mentioned Dave Grant Nelson, his health big.
I think Bama got a really good draw. It's just, I saw Nate Oates just got quoted. He said it sounds like he thinks he's going to play in the first round. Said it was swollen today. He's walking around, but thought he would play in the first round. His health will be key because when he's hitting shots from beyond the arc and that he's got to extend these opposing defenses, makes Bama a lot different. Again, I like the draw, and again, that's a big break. And like I said, I'll say it again. I think Alabama got a better draw with St. Mary's and Vanderbilt in the second round. If they can get by Robert Morris, better than Auburn in the second round, better than Auburn's matchup in the second round against Louisville or Creighton.
Dave, let's highlight this. P5 showing MIZ love. MIZ.
I think the Tigers got a tough draw, but I think Dennis Gates and the boys can do it. I do like the depth. Key, Mark Mitchell's status. They need him. Again, nobody's 100% this time of year, even if they don't show up on an injury report. Everybody's got bumps and bruises, but they need him at least 90%. He changes them.
Yeah, we love.
Like EP says, get your grill hot.
Fire up the grill, folks. We love the Mizzou fans being in here. You guys have been great.
Where's Rambo at?
Where are Rambo and the boys? Where's Rambo at?
Rambo quit on Missouri last year. They had 0-18. He forgot what selection Sunday.
He didn't realize. He didn't realize what day it was.
As hell.
Yeah, you got to get used to it with Dennis now. You got to get used to it. Selection Sunday going to be marked on the calendar. Kirby, SEC is tough with Florida. I see in the Final Four Hog fan here. We need Thero, in my opinion, to make a run.
I agree. Thero carried them through non-conference play for not having a couple more losses than even a couple of those early early conference wins and then into February when they were playing really well, even in some losses. He's right. I agree. For Arkansas to go get to the Sweet 16, which I think is going to be tough, they need Thero. I mean, they need Thero more than they need Boogie Flan. Let's call a spade a spade.
Dave, a really funny interaction in the comments I have to highlight. Our guy Roll Todd says Cox headed to the NIT. Unfortunately, Josh Manning had to inform him that they turned it down. Roll Todd is very upset. Why would we do that? Josh Manning let him know that our post, and he is saying that is lame that the Cox have turned down the spots in the NIT. So
a chance to go to the Garden.
How dare they turn that down? Our guy Joe K. Joe, thank you so much. Please like, subscribe. Dave, Chris, Cole, Harrison, Lucas are the best. Thank you, Joe. You're the man. Appreciate it. I hope your dollar bet at plus 100,000. I hope it pans out. I'd love to see it. We'd love nothing more. So
you can give us a big super chat.
Big super chat for sure. For encouraging you. We'll take that. We'll be waiting. Take that super chat when Rodney Terry and the boys,
Rodney Terry, baby, back for another one.
Ultimate.
He's got to win a couple of games.
Yeah, I think they need to be second weekend to feel good about bringing Rodney Terry back. I don't think much less than that is going to have the folks feeling any differently about future of the program type of deal. But Dave, This is a lot of fun, man. This is great. We finally made it. March Madness is here. Guys, make sure you stay tuned because, again, we've got Texas in the first four. They're going to play Wednesday night. We will be dropping our first-round preview, including, of course, that game and all the others with our picks, breakdowns, everything. We will be dropping that at latest by Tuesday. So we're going to get that out there. You're going to have our gambling picks this week as well ahead of time because thankfully we've got spreads, we've got totals all ahead of time. So again, just make sure you stay tuned. It's going to be like drinking water out of fire hose, all the content we're going to throw at you, content bleeding out of the eyeballs. But again, we got you covered. There's nobody better to follow, to hang out with, that's going to get you ready for the SEC in March Madness. My guy, Dave Shumate, I know he can't wait to sit down and watch college basketball for 4 straight days. Hopefully his wife doesn't divorce him, and hopefully the kid somehow gets fed because I know this dude is going to be glued to the television, breaking it all down, reacting to everything, myself included as well. It is going to be an absolute blast. So, Dave, as we get out of here, any parting thoughts? Any last words? Man, March Madness is officially here, man. I'm excited to fill the bracket out and get it rolling.
Yeah, no, 14 teams, like you said, a lot to cover, but we're fired up about it. And we welcome all 14 fan bases to come into. I mean, even if you're an LSU South Carolina fan, you just enjoy it. CP, we got to get our bracket out there for the fans. What's the giveaway? Some gear we were talking about?
Yeah. So I will repost this link. We have the official tournament challenge group. It's just 2025 SEC Unfiltered Bracket Challenge. Pretty simple. The winner is going to get free merch, free SECU merch of your choice. You want a hat, you want a shirt, you want a hoodie. We'll probably do like a care package as well, so it just won't be one thing. And for example, if Dave wins it and you come in second, well, Dave's taken care of. So whoever comes in second, you'll get the care package. Dave's already got his. So, and So anyways, it'll be a lot of fun. I'll repost a link. Make sure you join. Again, we really appreciate you guys and really want to say thank you all to you guys following along all season long. Not naming any names, and then there's nothing wrong with it. Do as you wish. But you guys see it. Obviously, there's some people out there that, maybe today's the first day you ever seen them talking college basketball. You're like, oh, I didn't know they taught college basketball today. We really appreciate you guys being with us in the trenches all the way back, going back to, Dave, think about it. Our SEC basketball season preview we dropped back in late October when I had people chirping me saying, what are you doing? It's football season. Well, this is why we do it, because this is really the fun part. We've put in the work all throughout the season. Now we've finally made it to March Madness. Again, we just want to say thank you guys so much for your love, your support, tuning in to all the previews, the reactions, the segments, the content on social media, everything. We can't say thank you enough. And again, because now it all culminates, it all leads to this. So we finally made it. Again, guys, appreciate you all tuning in. Make sure, as always, you like, subscribe, turn on notifications, check us out via podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, you can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. For lead basketball analyst Dave Shumate, I'm Chris Phillips. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Get your brackets filled out, and we'll talk to you soon when we preview, predict, and break down round 1 of the 2025 NCAA Tournament.